My name is Heinrich Müller. I'm 50 years old. Right now, I'm trapped again. The snow started 3 days ago. Heavy, relentless, the kind that buries the world. I'm in my cabin, the same cabin where I've spent every winter for the past 27 years. Fire is burning. I have food, I have water. I should be fine. But I'm not fine. Because I've been here before, not just in this cabin, in this exact situation. 25 years ago, I was 25 then. Young, strong, thought I knew these mountains better than anyone, thought I was prepared for anything winter could throw at me. I was wrong. That winter, the winter of 1408, it didn't just test me, it broke me, took everything I had, my flock, my pride, nearly took my life. I survived, but the man who walked out of these mountains that spring, he wasn't the same man who'd walked in the previous autumn. And now, sitting here, watching the snow pile higher against my door, feeling the temperature drop, hearing the wind howl exactly the way it did 25 years ago, I'm terrified it's happening again. So before this storm gets worse, before I lose the chance, I need to tell you what happened. What really happened that winter. Because if I don't make it through this one, someone needs to know. 25 years ago, I was a different man. I'd been a shepherd for 7 years by then. Started at 18, learning from my father. These Alps, these brutal, beautiful mountains, they were my home. Every peak, every valley, every treacherous pass. I knew them. Or I thought I did. That autumn, I brought my flock up to the high pasture like always. 43 sheep. My entire livelihood, everything my father had left me when he died, every coin I'd saved, my future, walking on 4 legs, grazing on mountain grass. The cabin I'm in now, I built it with my father when I was 16. Solid stone walls, thick timber roof, a good fireplace, meant to last, meant to keep a man alive through the worst winter could offer. I stocked it well that year. Salted meat, dried vegetables, grain for bread, wood stacked high outside. I did everything right. The first snow came in October, early but not unusual. I brought the sheep close to the cabin, let them shelter in the lean-to I'd built against the south wall, fed them hay I'd stored, everything according to plan. November was cold but manageable. I settled into the rhythm I knew. Wake before dawn. Check the sheep. Melt snow for water. Maintain the fire, repair equipment, read my father's old Bible by candlelight, sleep, repeat. It was lonely, but I liked the solitude. Up here, I didn't have to talk to anyone, didn't have to pretend to be anything I wasn't. Just me and the mountains and the sheep. Simple, pure. December came. The temperature dropped. Not gradually, suddenly. One night I went to sleep with frost on the windows. I woke to ice on the inside of the walls. My breath froze in the air. The water bucket was solid. The sheep started dying, not all at once. 1 here, 2 there. I'd go out to feed them and find them frozen, standing up like statues, their eyes open, their mouths full of hay they'd never swallow. I tried everything, brought them inside the cabin, the ones that were left, packed them together for warmth, fed them more, but it wasn't enough. The cold was too deep, too total. It reached into everything, into the ground, into the stones, into bones. 20 sheep died in 2 weeks. I was down to 23 when the real storm hit. It came on Christmas Eve. I remember because I'd planned to read the nativity story that night, had it marked in the Bible. Never got to it. The wind arrived first. Not normal wind, wind like a living thing. Wind that screamed. That shook the cabin so hard I thought the roof would tear off. That drove snow through gaps I didn't know existed. The temperature fell even further. I don't know how cold it got. I just know that metal burned to touch, that my spit froze before it hit the ground, that the fire in the hearth struggled to stay alive despite being fed constantly. I couldn't go outside. The wind would have killed me in minutes. The sheep in the lean-to, I couldn't reach them. Couldn't help them, could only sit inside and listen to them die. It took 3 days, 3 days of that wind. 3 days of cold that felt like the end of the world. 3 days of sitting in that cabin, alone, wondering if I'd ever see sunlight again. When it finally stopped, when the wind died and I could open the door, I found them. All of them, all 23 remaining sheep, frozen solid in a huddled mass. They'd tried to stay warm together. It hadn't worked. I stood there in the snow, looking at them, at everything I owned, everything my father had left me, everything I'd worked for. Gone. I had no flock to bring down the mountain, no income, no future. I was 25 years old and I had nothing. But I was alive. I spent that winter eating my supplies and trying not to go mad. The isolation I'd loved before became torture. The silence wasn't peaceful anymore. It was oppressive, suffocating. Every day the same. Wake, feed fire, eat, stare at walls, sleep, repeat. I thought about my father, about how he'd trusted me with his flock, how I'd failed him, how I'd been so arrogant, thinking I knew the mountains, thinking I was prepared. The mountains don't care about preparation. They don't care about arrogance or humility. They don't care at all. They just are, indifferent, eternal, stronger than any man. I learned that the hard way. When spring finally came, when the snow melted enough for me to leave, I walked down the mountain with nothing. No flock, no money, just my life. It took me years to recover, years of working for other shepherds, years of saving every coin, years of rebuilding what I'd lost. I got another flock eventually, smaller, more careful. I came back up here to this cabin because I had nowhere else to go. This was all I knew. But I was different, more cautious, more respectful. I watched the signs. I prepared better. I never forgot what winter could do. For 25 years, I've survived. Every winter, I've made it through. I learned. I adapted. I became the shepherd I should have been all along. Until now. Until 3 days ago when the wind started to sound familiar. When the temperature started to drop the same way. When the snow started to fall with that same relentless weight. And I realized, it's happening again. The storm outside is getting worse. I can hear it. The same wind, the same cold, the same feeling of the world closing in. I'm 50 years old now, not 25. I'm prepared. I have supplies. I know what I'm doing, but I'm also alone, just like I was then. And the mountain doesn't care how much I've learned, doesn't care about my experience or my caution or my fear. It just is. I don't know if I'll survive this storm. I survived the last one, but that doesn't guarantee anything. The mountain takes what it wants, when it wants. If I don't make it, if this is the winter that finally takes me, I want someone to know what happened, what I learned. The mountain is always stronger. Always. You can prepare. You can learn. You can do everything right. And it still might not be enough. That's not a reason to give up. It's not a reason to stop trying. But it's the truth. 25 years ago, I thought I was invincible. The mountain taught me otherwise. Now I know I'm fragile, temporary, one storm away from nothing. We all are. If you live near mountains, if you live anywhere wild, respect it. Fear it even. Because the moment you think you've mastered it, the moment you think you're safe, that's when it reminds you who's really in control. I'm going to keep the fire burning tonight. Going to stay warm as long as I can, going to hope that tomorrow the storm breaks and I can walk out of here alive. But if it doesn't, if this is where my story ends, at least now you know, at least now someone understands. The mountain gave me 25 extra years. Maybe that was mercy. Maybe that was just chance. Either way, I'm grateful, even if I'm terrified, even if tonight might be my last night. I'm grateful I got this long. If you're watching this, if I didn't make it, tell my story. Remember that the mountain always wins. Always.